I did my group presentation on adolescence and peer pressure by Helen, Irelan. The teenage life. Adolescents range from age 12 to 20, so they are in middle school and high school at this age. They spend more than half of the time with their peers. Because of all the time spent with their peers, they play a highly influential role. Adolescents develop the importance of relationships with their peers for socialization, self-definition, support, and friendship. What is peer pressure? So the definition of peer pressure is, it is defined as influence from members of one's own peer group. And there are two types of peer pressures. The first one is negative peer pressure. And examples of those would be like substance abuse, cigarette smoking, driving fast, or engaging in sexual activity. Examples of positive peer pressure would be encouragement, like with sports, or motivation for success. Peer pressure is normal at this stage. It peaks at age 15 and declines after that. And when the adolescent is 18, they are usually better at setting boundaries for themselves. And most teens will come encounter with peer pressure at some point of their school life. So, why are they more susceptible? Puberty. During puberty, adolescents get more interested in finding out about new environments and influences, so that can make them more curious to try new things. They find being liked by others more gratifying, and they find pleasure and rewards in pleasing others, and they also want to gain acceptance. Because of the time spent with their peers, I already said that. Adolescents develop the importance, I already said that too. Adolescents tend to follow their peers because their brains derive more pleasure from social acceptance than adult brains. They find being liked by others more gratifying, and they find pleasure and rewards in pleasing others, and they want to be accepted. Brain changes.
Like, when I looked at the front, it looked like it had a lot of, like, definitions of what, like, certain things.
So teenagers do not have a fully developed frontal lobe. The frontal lobes are responsible for decision-making and other complex cognitive tasks. Frontal lobes involve the way the brain processes rewards and pleasure also. The brain is usually fully developed at the age of 25, so as they get older, they'll be better at making decisions and better judgment of things. As the brain matures, people are able to regulate their impulses, the ability to think ahead, planning and determining the risks and rewards of the situation. So this leads to better self-regulation. Teens have a better. Okay, wait. I'm not done with this. Even though their frontal lobes are not fully developed, they are still as capable of making decisions as adults. They just find more pleasure in pleasing others. I might have said that already. I don't remember. Okay. Teens have a better chance at resisting peer pressure if they are popular, like have a lot of positive friends, ones with low dysfunctional families, supportive parents, and the adolescents that have good communication skills.
I don't know, maybe 10, 12 questions, and I'm like, what?
Parents and peer pressure. So, when adolescents are in middle school and high school, they usually spend less time with their parents since they spend more than half of their time with their peers. Teens are less influenced by friends and peers when they have close, involved relationships with their parents. Parents can adjust their parenting style and reflect unfavorable outcomes. For example, authoritative parenting encourages teens to be less susceptible to peer influence, specifically in areas where teens engage in unacceptable or bad behavior, but are more susceptible to peer influence in domains that are approved by adults. So you can adjust your parenting style, and that would help your teenager. Parents are recommended to talk to their teens about the dangers of peer pressure and talk to them about saying no too. And frequent talking and listening is recommended. Okay, the racing experiment. There was an experiment performed by the psychologists at Temple University. It was a car racing game experiment, and they performed it on 3 groups, on teens, college students, and adults. And they used MRI technology. So each player played a 6-minute video inside a brain scanner, and there were prizes for the fastest time finishing. So there were rewards for the fastest, but in the game there were yellow lights, so they had to decide whether they wanted to speed up and go through the yellow light or stop at the yellow light. If they were to go through it, it would be faster time but more crashes, and if they were to slow down and stop, it would have slower race time and less crashes. So all the players played by themselves, and then they played with 2 peers of the same sex. And the peers did not associate with the player. There was no encouragement or any verbal communication. So the results were that the adult and college kids had no big difference in risk taking from when they played by themselves and when they played with their peers. So the results were that teenagers, 40% more had yellow lights, and 60% more had more crashes than when their friends were there. So 40% of teenagers, okay, I'm getting all jumpy. Never mind. Present of peers activated the reward circuitry in the brain and not in the adults. So the brain responded this way just by knowing that others were watching. There didn't need to be any verbal or physical contact with the player and the peers. They just were aware of others, and that is what caused that. So the awareness of others watching and evaluating influence teenage behavior. So whether or not peers are peer pressuring them, they will still try to please them. Okay. Here's a picture of this guy that's trying to be peer pressured into smoking cigarettes, and it is not cool. Can you see the picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Negative peer pressure can lead to substance abuse.